The first punch landed before I could blink. A sharp crack against my jaw that sent me stumbling into the alley's damp concrete. Blood stung my lips. And above me, Ethan's voice hissed through the dusk. "You don't get to ruin me, Caleb." I looked up, heart pounding, and saw his eyes, those same hazel eyes I'd loved under starlight, now burning with something I couldn't name. Something between rage and fear. Caleb Monroe. That's me. 22. A barista in the sleepy town of Willow Creek, Pennsylvania, where secrets are currency and everyone knows your name. Ethan Harper, my Ethan, was the golden boy, quarterback, prom king, the guy who could charm a room with a grin. We'd been hiding for 2 years, stealing moments in the woods, in his truck, in the shadows where no one could see. No one will ever find out. He'd whispered that first night, his breath warm against my ear as we lay on a blanket under the pines. I believed him. I wanted to believe him. But secrets in Willow Creek don't stay buried, they fester. It started with a photo. One careless moment at the county fair last summer, when Ethan pulled me behind the Ferris wheel. His laugh bright as he kissed me under the neon glow. I didn't know someone was watching. I didn't know they'd snapped a picture, grainy but unmistakable, and sent it to Ethan's teammates. By morning, it was everywhere: texts, group chats, whispers in the diner. Ethan's face, my face, frozen in a moment we thought was ours alone. The town turned on us like a pack of wolves. Ethan's dad, Pastor John Harper, called it a sin. My mom, who'd always been my rock, could barely look at me. And Ethan, he denied it. Said it wasn't him in the photo. Said I'd dragged him into this mess. The alley was cold that October evening, the air thick with the scent of rain and rotting leaves. Ethan loomed over me, fists clenched, his Letterman jacket smeared with mud from when I'd grabbed at him, begging him to stop. "You told them it was me," I gasped, wiping blood from my chin. "You let them think I lied about us." "You shouldn't have pushed me," he shouted, voice cracking. "You think I wanted this? My dad's got the whole church praying for my soul. Caleb, my scholarship's on the line. My life. And what about mine?" I stood, shaky but defiant. "You think I wanted to be the town pariah? You think I wanted my mom to cry herself to sleep?" He froze, his breath visible in the chilly air. For a moment, I saw the Ethan I loved, the one who'd carved our initials into a tree by the creek, who'd promised we'd run away to Philly or New York, somewhere we could be free. But that Ethan was gone, replaced by this stranger who'd do anything to save his reputation. "I'm sorry," he muttered, barely audible. "But I can't lose everything. Not for me." I cut him off, my voice sharp. "Say it, Ethan. Not for me." He didn't answer. He just turned and walked away, leaving me in the alley with a bruised face and a heart that felt like it was shattering. The next morning, Willow Creek was buzzing. The photo had hit social media, not just local group chats, but X, where it spread like wildfire. Someone had posted it with a caption, "Golden boy or hypocrite. Willow Creek's QB caught in a lie." Ethan's face was everywhere, his perfect smile, his perfect lie. And me, I was the footnote, the other guy, the one nobody cared about. Or so I thought. By noon, I was called into the diner where I worked. My boss, Linda, a tough woman with a soft spot for strays, handed me a coffee and said, "Kid, you're trending." I stared at her, confused, until she showed me her phone. Hashtags. Justice for Caleb. Willow Creek Truth. People, strangers from across the country, were sharing my story, piecing it together from the photo, from whispers on X, from the truth Ethan tried to bury. They saw me, not as the villain, but as the one who'd been betrayed. I walked home in a daze, the autumn leaves crunching under my boots. My phone buzzed nonstop messages from people I'd never met, offering support, sharing their own stories of hiding who they were. One message stood out. From a girl in California, "You're not alone. Caleb, keep fighting." I sat on my porch, staring at the words, and for the first time in days, I didn't feel invisible. But Ethan wasn't done. That night, he showed up at my house, his face pale, his eyes red. "They're destroying me," he said, voice low. "My dad's disowning me. The team's benched me. You have to tell them it's not true." I looked at him, the boy I'd loved, the boy who'd broken me. "I'm done lying for you," I said. "You made your choice." He grabbed my arm, desperate. "Caleb, please. I'll lose everything." "Then maybe you should have thought of that before you threw me under the bus," I said, pulling away. The door slammed between us, and I leaned against it, heart racing, knowing this was far from over. The days that followed were a storm. Willow Creek, once a quiet haven of picket fences and Sunday potlucks, became a battleground. The photo of Ethan and me was no longer just a scandal, it was a symbol. On X, people argued over it. Some called it a private matter, others a betrayal of trust. Ethan's family leaned hard into the latter, painting him as the victim of a confused kid who'd spun a lie to ruin their perfect son. Pastor John's sermons grew louder, his voice booming about redemption and sin, while Ethan stayed silent, avoiding my eyes at school, at the diner, anywhere our paths crossed. I wasn't silent, though. Not anymore. The messages from strangers kept coming, a lifeline in the chaos. A queer advocacy group in Pittsburgh reached out, offering legal advice, a place to stay if things got worse. My mom, still grappling with her own fears, started leaving post-it notes on my door. "I love you, Caleb. I'm trying." It wasn't perfect, but it was enough to keep me going. One night, I found myself at the creek, the place where Ethan and I had spent so many stolen moments. The tree with our initials was still there, the carving jagged but clear, E+C. I traced it with my fingers, remembering the warmth of his hand in mine, the way he'd laughed when I tripped over a root. That was before the world turned on us, before he turned on me. A rustle in the bushes made me jump. It was Mia, my best friend since 5th grade, her dark curls bouncing as she ran toward me. "Caleb, you have to see this," she said, shoving her phone in my face. A new post on X, from an anonymous account, a video. Grainy, shaky, but unmistakable. Ethan, standing in the locker room, laughing with his teammates. "Yeah, it was just a phase," he said, his voice casual. "Cruel. Monroe's obsessed. I was just messing around." My stomach twisted. I wanted to scream, to throw the phone into the creek. Instead, I whispered, "He's lying." "I know," Mia said, her eyes fierce. "And we're going to prove it." Mia was a force editor of the school paper, debate team captain, the kind of person who could rally a crowd with a single sentence. She'd been by my side since the photo leaked, deflecting whispers, shutting down bullies. Now, she had a plan. "We're going to tell your story, Caleb. Your truth, not his." I hesitated. Telling my story meant exposing everything: the late-night talks, the promises, the way Ethan's touch made me feel like I could fly. It meant admitting I'd loved someone who didn't love me back. Not enough to stand by me. But Mia's hand on my shoulder grounded me. "You're not alone in this," she said. "Let's fight." We spent hours at her house, drafting a post for X. Not a rant, not a plea, but a story. My story. I wrote about falling for Ethan, about the fear of being seen, About the betrayal that cut deeper than any fist. Mia polished it, her fingers flying over her laptop. "This is raw," she said. "It's real. People will feel it." We posted it at midnight. By morning, it had thousands of shares. Justice for Caleb trended again. Higher this time. People weren't just talking about the photo, they were talking about me. About love. About the cost of hiding who you are. A news outlet in Philly picked it up. Then another in New York. Ethan's lie was unraveling. And I was no longer the footnote. But Willow Creek wasn't ready to let go of its golden boy. Ethan's dad organized a town hall. A community prayer to support his son. I went. Against Mia's advice. Slipping into the back of the church. Pastor John stood at the pulpit. His voice heavy with sorrow. "My son has been led astray," he said. "We must guide him back to the light." Ethan was there. Head bowed. The picture of repentance. I wanted to hate him. But all I felt was grief. Grief for the boy who'd kissed me under the stars. Who'd promised forever. Grief for the boy who'd chosen fear over us. As I left the church, someone grabbed my arm. It was Sarah, Ethan's younger sister. Her eyes wide with guilt. "Caleb," she whispered. "He didn't mean it. He's scared. Dad's making him do this." I pulled away, my voice steady. "He made his choice. Sarah, I'm done waiting for him to choose me." The tide was turning, but not without cost. My post on X had made me a symbol, but it also made me a target. Notes appeared in my locker slurs. Threats. Bible verses twisted into weapons. Someone slashed my bike tires outside the diner. My mom started locking the doors at night. Something she'd never done in Willow Creek. But the support kept coming to letters. Donations. A scholarship offer from a queer-friendly college in Boston. I was caught between hope and fear. A tightrope I walked every day. Mia and I kept pushing. We started a blog, Willow Creek Truth, where I wrote about love, identity, and the courage it takes to be seen. People sent in their own stories, kids like me. Adults who'd hidden for decades. Allies who wanted change. The blog became a beacon. And Willow Creek, for all its resistance, started to shift. The diner's regulars stopped whispering when I walked in. Linda put a rainbow sticker on the register. Small victories. But they mattered. Ethan, though, was spiraling. I saw it in his eyes when we passed each other at school, haunted. Hollow. His teammates had turned on him. His scholarship was gone. And his dad's church was losing members. Part of me wanted to reach out, to pull him back from the edge. But every time I thought of it, I remembered his voice in that video, just a phase. Monroe's obsessed. One night, I got a text from an unknown number. "Meet me at the creek. Please." I knew it was him. I shouldn't have gone. But I did, driven by some stubborn piece of my heart that still loved him. He was there, sitting on our tree's roots. His Letterman jacket gone, replaced by a worn hoodie. "Caleb," he said, his voice breaking. "I messed up. I was scared. And to hurt you." I crossed my arms, keeping my distance. "You didn't just hurt me, Ethan. You threw me away." "I know." He stood, stepping closer, his hands shaking. "I thought if I denied it, it would go away. But it's killing me. I love you, Caleb. I always have." His words hit like a wave, pulling me under. I wanted to believe him, to fall back into the warmth of his arms. But trust was a fragile thing, and he'd shattered it. "You don't get to say that now," I said, my voice steady despite the ache. "Not after everything." "I'll tell them," he said, desperate. "I'll tell the truth. I'll stand with you." I looked at him, searching his eyes for the boy I'd loved. "Then do it," I said. "But not for me. For you." He nodded, tears streaming down his face. I walked away, the creek's gentle ripple fading behind me, knowing I'd just closed a door I could never reopen. The next day, Ethan posted on X. A single sentence, "I'm gay. And I love Caleb Monroe." It was raw, unpolished, and it shook Willow Creek to its core. The comments exploded, some hateful, some supportive, but all loud. Pastor John called a press conference, disowning his son on live TV. Ethan's mom left town with Sarah, unable to face the fallout. And Ethan? He was alone, just like I'd been. Ethan's confession changed everything. Willow Creek was split, half clung to Pastor John's rhetoric, half rallied behind Ethan and me. The diner became a makeshift headquarters for supporters, with Linda handing out free coffee to anyone who showed up with a kind word. Mia's blog grew, and so did our fight. We weren't just telling our story anymore. We were telling everyone's. Ethan and I didn't get back together. Too much had been broken. Too many words left scars. But we talked. Slowly. Carefully. Rebuilding something new, not love, but understanding. He started volunteering at a youth center in Pittsburgh, helping kids like us find their voice. I kept writing, my words reaching further than I'd ever imagined. The scholarship to Boston became my ticket out, a chance to start fresh. One spring evening, months after the chaos, I stood on the creek's bank, the tree with our initials still standing tall. Mia was with me, her camera snapping shots for the blog. "You did it, Caleb," she said, grinning. "You changed this town." "We changed it," I corrected, looking at the water, its surface reflecting the sunset. "And we're not done." The world had seen us 12 boys who loved in secret, who fought, who fell, who rose. Ethan's face was viral, but not for the reasons he'd feared. It was a symbol of truth, of courage, of the cost and beauty of being seen. And me, I was no longer the footnote. I was the one everyone supported, not because I was a victim, but because I'd chosen to stand. As I walked away from the creek, my phone buzzed with a new message. A kid in Ohio, scared but hopeful, thanking me for showing him he wasn't alone. I smiled, knowing this was the real victory, not the hashtags, not the headlines, but the lives we'd touched, the hearts we'd opened. In Willow Creek, the leaves still fell, the creek still flowed, and the world kept turning. But it was different now. We'd made it different.